Man, what it is, y'all know you back another reaction video on the channel. Anyways, look, before we even get started or anything, I just want to say thank you to every one of you guys for supporting the channel. We finally reached 1,000 subscribers on the channel. So congrats to us. Thank you so much for helping us reach our goal. Anyways, let's watch. This is August D. Haegeum, the meaning and story behind it. So we're gonna get into it and break it down and see what really going on. Let's get to it.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about Augustus Haegeum, focusing on a little...
Augustus. Is that how you say it? And like, why she say it like that? Well, I mean, August, I feel like August D is like how you say it in American, but like, she might be saying it right.
In today's video, we'd like to talk about Augustus Haegeum, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the lyrics and the music video to see what they can tell us about the concept and story of this official solo debut. Haegeum is a song written and composed by Jung himself, and its title is a wordplay that actually refers to two different things. On the one hand, the Haegeum is a traditional stringy instrument whose sound can be heard throughout the song itself. On the other, however, Haegeum can also be translated as the lifting of a ban.
Lifting a ban, an act of withdrawing a ban on something. Haegeum. So removing something, lifting a ban. Okay.
Implying that this is a track that uses music to encourage people to free themselves and go against certain rules. As the chorus tells us, this song is a Haegeum. It's a call to lift a ban that we as the audience are meant to join, as Augusti introduces us to this new type of rebellion. According to the press release, the song pushes an idea of freedom to people who appear to be free, but are actually...
So Haegeum is a hip-hop genre song that use Haegeum, traditional Korean string instrument sounds. The song brings up the idea of freedom to people who appears to be living freely but are actually bound by various restrictions in daily life and socially. Throughout the title, which refers to both the instruments as well as the phrase to lift a ban.
Bound by suffocating social standards that restrict them. Much like the album as a whole, this is a concept that was inspired by Jung's perspective, and more specifically by his life as an idol, as well as his experience with social media. As he explained in the Road to D-Day documentary, for instance, one of the main inspirations behind the song is the restrictions that idols have to endure for no reason.
Idols, honestly, despite not committing crimes or doing anything that could be considered a controversy, even a little thing becomes this big. It becomes, are they allowed to be like that? I didn't really understand it even when I was young, but of course, that didn't mean I went around causing trouble. I mean, honestly, I feel like being famous and having the world watching you consistently, it has to be tough, man. Like, you can't even go outside to enjoy yourself like you would if you weren't famous. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm not saying, look, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's not like they didn't work for that. Of course they worked for that. That's what they wanted to be. You know what I mean? They wanted to be, I'm not gonna say they wanted to be idols, but they wanted to be a group that brought positivity to the world. You see me? Like, tell people they should be happy, they should free themselves. You understand what I'm trying to get to? Well, so once you get big enough, all the attention comes with it, but also not all attention is good attention. Not everyone's gonna like you in life, you know. So it's like it just gets hard, I guess.
Even if on a general level, idols don't commit any crimes or do anything that controversial, people hold them at such an impossible standard that even the smallest thing can become the biggest scandal. As we'll see in a second, for instance, the video includes multiple scenes of Augusti smoking cigarettes, and this is one of those actions that are only considered scandalous if it's an idol doing it.
Honestly, I did not think of that, and that's actually very true. Have you ever seen somebody famous smoking a cigarette unless it's like in a movie or something like that? You won't even see it like in a rap video, honestly, in America, really. But that went through, like, I didn't even notice that when I watched the video, actually. Well, I'm not gonna say I didn't notice. I did notice it. I just didn't comment. I didn't have anything to say about it, but like, she did, you know what I mean?
And this is one of those actions that are only considered scandalous if it's an adult doing it. If you saw any other adult smoking a cigarette down the street, you probably wouldn't even notice it. But if an adult idol is caught doing it, then people start talking and questioning his character.
Nah, fact, like, oh, he's on drugs, he's going crazy. Oh my God, you know how people is.
In a sense, Jungi decided to include those scenes as some sort of.
So in the music video, there are smoking scenes and things like that. If this also become controversy, if this becomes a controversy when I'm 31, then really, as a social phenomenon, it makes me strongly wonder how I'm supposed to accept this. Like, let's unlock those banned things. Honestly, I agree. I feel like just because somebody's famous, they shouldn't be held to different boundaries than like everybody else. At the end of the day, they're still human just because they're famous. It's not like, I get it. Do you wanna hold a certain picture of yourself, but at the same time, why do you need to be different because you're an idol? You're somebody people look up to. I don't know. I just don't like that idea of that.
Test, because if a 30-year-old smoking a cigarette becomes a controversy, then one has to wonder why we should accept this insane standard to begin with. Following these thoughts, Auguste created Haegeum to start questioning these useless restrictions and lift those bans that exist for no reason. This is a song about freedom of expression. It has the goal to liberate what is forbidden, but make no mistake, the message of Haegeum is not that we are free to do and say whatever we want. As he explains in the song, given interpretation is free, and there is a big difference between freedom and self-indulgence. If your beliefs are reflected in your thoughts and judgment, and you think that your freedom is equal to the freedom of others, then this song is for you. You understand that people think that your freedom is indulgence. If your beliefs are reflected in your thoughts different we want. As he explains in the song, given interpretation is free, and there is a big difference between freedom and self-indulgence. If your beliefs are reflected in your thoughts and judgment, and you think that your freedom is equal to the freedom of others, then this song is for you. You understand that people should be treated equally, and that if you can do certain things, then others can as well. If in contrast you think that your freedom of expression is more important than others, then it becomes self-indulgence, and it can become the cause of someone's death. At that point, we can no longer talk about freedom of expression because your actions limits the freedom of somebody else. This is a discourse that is painfully relevant when it comes to idols, and in more ways than one, this concept applies to all of us just as well. As he explained in the documentary, Haegeum was also inspired by his experience with social media. In this day and age, we have access to a world of information.
And well, I didn't mean to pause her like that, but anyways, and since people can see so much information with the palm of their hand, imagine or thinking, even I started not doing them. So regarding those things, let's get liberated.
On the palm of our hands, but oftentimes we use this tool to kind of restrict each other without even realizing it. Jung explained that there were times where he felt like his life was kind of limited by events happening on the other side of the world.
With advanced technology, we're able to get all kind of information and see situations happen on the other side of the planet while sitting. But I surely felt those things kind of prohibited my life. Actually, I can live without walking on the eggshell as much. You have to live doing the things you want. Honestly, that's a great statement. That's a great statement. But I surely felt those things kind of prohibited my life. Actually, I can live without walking on eggshells as much. You have to live doing the things you want. Honestly, I feel like everybody should be able to enjoy their life, even if you're an idol. As the same way a regular person can enjoy their life, why can't somebody famous enjoy their life? This is how I feel about it. Sorry.
But then he realized that he didn't have to walk on eggshells that much. People can live like they want, and Haegeum is a song that is meant to remind us of this simple truth. In the second verse, for instance, Auguste criticized...
Honestly, not a whole music video is making sense to me. Because even the scene where, he's just, being happy, moving around freely. I didn't think anything of the whole music video. Honestly, this man is a genius, bro. There's so many things happening in the background, but they all mean something. There's a reason why it's there. There's a reason why he's doing the things he's doing. He's moving the way he's moving. It's like he's telling a story with his body, also while rapping about it, while singing. Bro, honestly, it's deeper than I thought. Yes, I did listen to the song. I listened to it twice, 3 times actually. And I break it down. I read the lyrics, but I never really thought of it like this. I never seen it like this. Honestly, shout out to this lady. She's really doing a great job explaining in a way I didn't see when I watched it. You know what I mean?
Song that is meant to remind us of this simple truth. In the second verse, for instance, Auguste criticizes social media and the negative impact it has on our lives. The endless influx of information that we are subjected to, the negative impact it has. In the second verse, for instance, Auguste criticizes social media and the negative impact it has on our lives. The endless influx of information that we are subjected to prohibits freedom of imagination and seeks conformity of thought. What is criticizing here is the mob mentality that people tend to acquire on social media. When somebody kind of gets
Honestly, well, I just wanted to say this. Do you guys realize how different people act on social media versus in real life? I don't know if it's just me, but like, bro, like you can know somebody in real life, but on social media they're a whole different person. It's like somebody you never met before. Everybody think they're like a celebrity on social media. Honestly, I just hate to see it sometimes. But hey, man, I'm not here to hate on anybody. But I just think everybody should just be themselves. You know, if you can't be yourself online because of other people, then you leaving for the wrong purposes. You're not even living for yourself. Me, like, excuse me. But me, I'm the type of person, I live my life for me. I show people how I live my life if I do post on social media. And I also like to keep my life kind of private. Like, I don't know, it's just me, but like, if I do want to post something, I'm not going to post something like I'm a whole different person. At the end of the day, if you know me, then you know how I act, how, like, I like to be. This is me. Like, I'm not here to change for anybody. And I feel like everybody should be the same. Like, be yourself. Don't need a change for anybody.
It's engulfed by that tide that people tend to acquire on social media. When somebody kind of gets engulfed by that tide, one gets blinded by the noise. The mob silences freedom of thought and feeds on unnecessary controversy. But when we are in the middle of it, we don't get it because all that chaos confuses our judgment. We don't understand that we are the ones to blame. Because all feeds on unnecessary controversy. But when we are in the middle of it, we don't get it. Thought and feeds on unnecessary tide, one gets blinded by the noise. The mob silences freedom of
Wait, hold on, my
thought.
fault.
Here is the mob mentality that people tend to acquire on social media. When somebody kind of gets engulfed by that tide, one gets blinded by the noise. The mob silences freedom of thought and feeds on unnecessary controversy. But when we are in the middle of it, we don't get it because all that chaos confuses our judgment. We don't understand that we are the ones to blame, that we are the ones restricting ourselves. So without even realizing it, this freedom of thought and feeds on a mentality that people tend to acquire on social media. When somebody kind of gets engulfed by that tide, one gets blinded by the noise. The mob silences freedom of thought and feeds on unnecessary controversy. But when we are in the middle of it, we don't get it because all that chaos confuses our judgment. We don't understand that we are the ones to blame, that we are the ones restricting ourselves. So without even realizing it, we become slaves to the very system that we criticize.
I don't know how I feel about that.
We don't understand that we are the ones to blame, that we are the ones restricting ourselves.
Do you guys feel like we're the ones restricting ourselves? I mean, I would say yes. Because I feel like we have more freedom than we think we have. And we're just not taking full advantage of it. We're just comfortable. I feel like the words we should be using is comfortable. I think we're just too comfortable in the place we're at right now. And that's the problem. Especially in America. We're just comfortable with anything. Like, honestly, like this soda right here, they could wake up today and be like, hey, this soda that used to be $2. It's now $5. And we'll just be like, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll pay for it. That's the problem. But it's a whole different topic. But, you know, I was just trying to make a point right there.
Also, so without even realizing it, we become slaves to the very system that we criticize. We become slaves to capitalism, to money, to hatred, to prejudice, to YouTube, to flexing, and none of us.
Why she say flexing like that too? Flexing. I like that. Yeah, honestly, I like her. I don't know. I like how she talks.
To money, to hatred, to prejudice, to YouTube, to flexing, and none of us are immune until we actually take a step back. The moment we close our eyes, everything becomes clear. We realize that everyone was blinded by envy and jealousy, and that we were putting shackles on each other for no reason. In the sound.
Damn.
Augusti invites us to follow the Haegeum to escape this flood of information because by doing so we can learn to differentiate between freedom and self-indulgence. Now in the video this concept is explored with a cinematic story that heavily parallels the events that took place in the Città. If back then Augusti played the double role of the king and the boss confronting each other, this time around Jungi plays the role of a detective and a thief and the boss took place in the Città. If back then
Wait,
Augusti
what did it take place?
between freedom and self-indulgence. Now in the video this concept is explored with a cinematic story that heavily parallels the events that took place in the Città. If back then Augusti played the double role of the king and the boss confronting each other, this time around Jungi plays the role of a detective and a thief fighting to the death for supremacy. Now that these two stories have something in common, it's very easy to see because even at first glance we can notice some callbacks that reference the first video. For one, the jacket of the thief bears the same dragon symbol of the king. His gang is made up of 6 men, like the gang thief bears the same dragon
So the jacket of the thief is the same jacket as okay.
symbol of the king. His gang is made up of 6 men, like the gang of the boss, and 3 out of 4 characters played by Jung. 6 men.
Honestly, you know what's crazy? When I was watching the video, I was trying to count how many dudes were in the back, but it just looked like a lot. So I was like, "There's no way it's only 7 of them." You know what I mean? But I guess she was right.
And like the gang of the boss, and 3 out of 4 characters played by Jungi have a scar on their eye. As he explained himself, the reason behind this scar will be revealed in Amygdala, so we'll talk more
In a Mangdala. What's a Mangdala? The reason why there's a scar on the eye will come out in a Mangdala. Wounds and scars are all made by the individual. Honestly, you can't avoid the first arrow. But the second arrow, there are people who just let themselves get it. I wanted to talk a bit about those kind of stories. So I did a Mangala. What's a Mangala? I really want to know.
about that in that video, but in the meantime, let's focus more on the story because we have quite a lot to unpack. You see, despite the shallow references that I just mentioned, Haegeum and the Città have a lot more in common than what it seems, to the point that I would even go as far as to say that they're almost the same story but shot in different settings. In the Città, for instance,
Oh, so these are connected. Because that's the first video we watched. And this is, oh, yeah, it got to be connected.
Haegeum and the Città have a lot more in common than what it seems, to the point that I would even go as far as to say that they're almost the same story but shot in different settings. In the Città, for instance, the boss is a man of the people who stands up to a tyrant who beheads anybody who dares to question him. As the boss challenges his power, the king takes him prisoner, but on the night of his execution, the man who was supposed to kill him frees him instead. The executioner was one of the butchers that the boss acknowledged at the very beginning, so it was his ally
Oh, shit. The guy, yeah, that's, oh, yo, honestly, I didn't even notice this. This is crazy.
all along. He betrayed the king for him, and at the end he gives him the gun that the boss finally uses to shoot the tyrant. Now, keep this summary in mind when we break down what happens in Haegeum. At the beginning, the video opens with Augusti as the boss of a gang followed by
Yeah, because at the end of this one, he also shot the guy. Wow.
6 men. He enters a restaurant that acts as a front of illegal activities, and after stealing a pair of chopsticks, he goes upstairs to confront a rival gang. Now, as we see later on in the video, his goal is to steal these people's money, and in order to accomplish this task, he doesn't hesitate to massacre every man that comes in his way. When the thief stabs the guards with the chopsticks, the two gangs start fighting each other as Augusti steals the money. The only survivor of this massacre is this man right here, who in turn calls his boss to tell him what's going on. This is where the antagonist comes into play, which is none
I didn't even see that, but that's crazy.
other than Augusti the detective. You see, even if he works for the police, he's a corrupt detective who is actually the leader of the gang the other Jungi just stole from. So as he sends a car on the scene, he sets off on his personal
Yo,
journey.
honestly, you know what's crazy? I just want to touch on this. Do you guys not realize around the world how many corrupt police officers there are? It's ridiculous. Like, I could name about like 5 different countries where like the whole justice system, police, all corrupt. Honestly, even in America, honestly, everything is corrupt. Once we realize that, bro, I think we would like finally ask for some changes, you know. But like, it's like, how can you really stop corruption? It's impossible. I don't think it's possible to stop corruption. Honestly, you could put somebody new on power. They could be like, oh no, I don't want to be corrupt, blah blah. But eventually, corruption happens, bro.
To find his nemesis. In the meantime, however, his nemesis is having the time of his life. Back in his hideout, he has a smoke, he does a little dancey dance, plays with his
A
goldfish.
little dancey dance. Y'all know I love how she talk for real.
Back in his hideout, he has a smoke, he does a little dancey dance, plays with his goldfish, and then he even goes out to get some tangerines, which I would argue are an essential detail in Jungi's lore. When he comes back, however, the detective is
I ain't
there
gonna lie, I love me some tangerines too.
waiting for him. So as Jungi the thief lays in a bathtub filled with money, Jungi the cop is pointing a gun at him ready to shoot. This, however, doesn't seem to affect him, so much so that he removes the cigarette from the cop's lips and uses it to set on fire the money that he stole from him. This is proof that Jungi the thief never really cared about his money, he just wanted to disrespect him, and this is what sends the detective off the edge. After getting waterboarded, the thief is standing in front of the detective about to be executed. Just like in the Chita, however, there is a final twist, because the boss takes a gun out of the barrel and shoots the detective, killing him instead. If you look closely, before approaching the body of his enemy, the thief gives the weapon to the man who was about to execute him, and this man happens to be the same guy they called the detective
Oh
at the
my
very
goodness, bro! I didn't even realize that.
man who was about to execute him, and this man happens to be the same guy they called the detective at the very beginning. As Jungi was leaving the premises, he saw him on the phone. They looked at each other, and he chose to keep him alive despite killing everybody else. So this implies that just like in the Chita, all the events were
The
part of an
Chita.
intricate plan to kill the corrupted leader. In both cases, the bosses allowed themselves to get captured. Both tyrants thought they won, and as they were about to execute the men who challenged their power, they were betrayed by one of their own before getting shot by their own enemy. If in the Chita we never got to see the outcome, however, in Haegeum we do, because at the end it's implied that Jungi the thief replaces the detective as the leader of his gang. Not only the police car drives him back to the restaurant from the beginning, but the waiter saves him right away like he is the new boss, thus implying that the cycle of power and greed eventually continues on. Before
I'm telling you, bro. It just never stops. It just keeps on going.
ending this video, I would also like to point out that Haegeum can also have a symbolical interpretation that fits the lyrics of the song. As we discussed before, Haegeum is about Jungi rebelling against the useless restrictions that people give others for no reason other than to
Haegeum is a hip hop genre song that Haegeum used. Oh, we already read this.
control them. If we apply this concept to the characters in our story, the events that take place in the video can also have a very different meaning. Let's say, for instance, the Jungi the thief is the one calling the Haegeum. He wants to rebel, lift the ban, and do whatever he wants without getting judged. As he does so, however, he's also challenging the authority of the detective, who in turn kinda represents the people that Jungi is criticizing. As an antagonist, the cop is a very hypocritical character if you think about it. He embodies the law, but at the same time he's the most corrupted of them all because he's also the leader of a gang. Like the people on social media who police idols but do the same stuff they want to cancel them for, the detectives want to punish the thief for things that he's guilty of as well. Of a gang. Like the people on social media who police idols but do the same stuff they want to cancel them for, the detectives want to punish the thief for things that he's guilty of as well. The thief smokes.
See, I'm telling you, bro. Life is just, oh man, bro. It's like, bro, like, can we ever make this world a better place? Like, we can never make this better. Because think about it. If corrupt officers are going after people doing bad things when also the officers doing bad things, who are we really stopping? It just doesn't make any sense.
But so does the cop. He steals, but so does the cop. He kills, but so does the cop. The only difference here is that the cop has the audacity to go after him for it, which is very
See,
similar.
the difference between him and the cop works for the government. He's allowed. He gets away with it, just like our government, bro. Like, there's so many things that happen in this world. Our government knows about it. The drugs that get in America, our government knows how it gets in America. Sometimes the government itself even bring the drugs to America. But they're trying to stop drugs. We have too many homeless people. This is killing people. This, and that. When half of the time they don't want to bring it to us. Come on, man.
to those people judging others for anything they do. As Jung evokes the Haegeum, it draws first blood by killing with red chopsticks, which in turn is the same tool that he uses to eat right at the end. This symbolically means that the weapon that he uses to kill is the same that he uses to feed himself, which is none other than his music. In real life, Auguste doesn't need violence to prove his point. He uses his craft, and Haegeum is yet another example of him successfully doing so. To see what else D-Day has in store for us, we'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Honestly, shout out to her. She really did a great job explaining this. I really like how she spoke about it. I like how her thought of process, because honestly, I did not see it like this the first time. Yeah, big shout out to her. If you guys want to go check her out, her name is right there in the middle of the screen. If you guys want to check her out. Anyways, I'm gonna catch you guys on the next video. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what to react to next in the comment. Let me know how you guys feel about the video. Let me know if you guys have any opinions about what the things what she was talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one.